I'm reminded of Michael C. Rupert's response to people quoting his work without mentioning his name. Late in his life, Michael C. Rupert put out a video clip called, I'm not sure if it was actually titled this, but he said these words repeatedly. He said, "Say my fucking name." He was clearly angry because people were using his work without saying his name. And so he was bringing attention to the fact that he had had these ideas and that he wasn't being quoted for them. He was being quoted liberally, but nobody was mentioning his name, the very definition of poor scholarship. And speaking of poor scholarship, I'm reminded of Michael Mann's hit piece on July 12, 2017 in the Washington Post, a response to David Wallace-Wells's long article in New York in which my name was not mentioned, but it was obvious that David Wallace-Wells had interviewed me for several hours, in fact, and then wrote up a summary of my work. And in response, Michael Mann recognized me as being the central interviewee in that piece, even though my name wasn't mentioned, thus the hit piece. A similar sort of series of events occurred, in this case, in November of 2017 with Zach Reuter writing a piece for Toronto Now magazine, although there was no particularly adverse response to that piece. More recently, Jim Bendell wrote in July of 2018 a sequel to his deep adaptation paper that was published as an occasional paper by his university after it was unfairly, in my opinion and his, rejected by the journal literature. So it was rejected for irrational reasons, apparently because the editor thought there would be an adverse personal response from individuals, not because there was anything wrong with the science. This is very poor scholarship. The paper is called After Acceptance, Some Responses to Anticipating Collapse. So this is Jim Bendell's follow-up papers to his deep adaptation paper. And in this paper, he lists 20 responses he has come across, numbers 19 and 20 of which he says, he writes, quote, watching Guy McPherson videos on YouTube, the masochist response. Sharing Guy McPherson videos with your Facebook friends, the sadomasochist response. Okay, that's an in-joke. Doomer humor will be a fast-growing genre, and by its own admission, fairly fast ending, end quote. Jim Bendell is able to poke fun at himself and to poke fun at me without being a jerk about it, without actually stealing my work and then calling me names as a result of stealing my work, and indicating, in my opinion, again, very poor scholarship on the behalf of not just Michael Mann, but others in the climate science community. And yet, at the edge of extinction, only love remains.